hang on. Yeah, totally, Jerry Garcia. Like, yeah, they would do a lot of 2-chord vamps. That was a jam bands, 1-chord vamps. I mean, Fish. There's a lot of that going on, and I'm not a huge fan. My good friend Josh, he's a big Fish fan. In fact, he went to 3 of the 4 Fish shows at the Sphere. It was 2 weeks ago. The Las Vegas Sphere. If you don't know about that place, man, check it out. It's insane. It's kind of the future, although I think it cost a couple billion to make. So it may be a while before we have spheres all over the country for venues. But and it's kind of one of those things. The Sphere is kind of one of those things where you kind of have to, because there's so much work creating the graphics, you kind of have to do residencies. U2 did like 40 shows there to open the whole thing. But yeah, jam bands, I think the appeal, for me, the lack of appeal is more just I'd rather be up there doing it. I'm watching them, I'm going, okay, a 20-minute jam, and like, let me go up and I'll play along. Good morning, Bruce. Good morning, Bob. Gary. Hey, we got three of the 4 admins. See if Dennis shows up. But I think kind of for one thing, Fish will never do the same show twice. That's kind of what they're known for. I'm sure that was the case with I mean, yeah, if you're gonna jam for 20 minutes, it obviously can't be the same. Hey, Sadie. Marsha Murray, what's going on? Good to see you. How many of you ever saw Grateful Dead? I never saw them live. I've never seen John Mayer with the Dead something. What's it called? Something in the Dead, or I can't remember. Or Fish, which is kind of taken over the mantle of the Grateful Dead. I mean, they sell out everywhere they go. Super popular. Back in the day, I feel like it was just an excuse to get high. It's like too many people getting high, the cops can't arrest you. And that's how they got famous. And I think there's also something about witnessing people create in front of you. To me, that's kind of the appeal to jazz and going to see jazz and bebop and stuff like that. I mean, you're literally watching people create Bach right in front of you. And so the improvisational arts, which, are not a new thing. Bach wrote improvisations into his pieces. Sometimes they were just in the forms of color to the melody, but generally they were not like bebop jazz improvisations kind of thing. Like, although Bach could do it. Bach could improvise like that, I'm sure. I wish we had some transcriptions of that, or recordings. I mean, he died in 1750. And I think about how complex his music is. We are really literally living in an idiocracy, in my opinion. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, but we didn't have the printing press, and people would just memorize entire, like, what was it? To become a rabbi, you had to have the first 5 books of you'd had to have the Torah memorized by the age of 7. By the age of 7, you'd have to have the Torah. You know how boring the Torah is? I mean, Genesis is great, but come on, Numbers and Leviticus. It's like, so yeah, it was, yeah, the brain is deteriorating through the centuries, I believe. Mine's just deteriorating. But yeah, so I thought what we could talk about today, and I didn't really prepare any diagrams or anything for it, but we could talk about arpeggios. I was just, it showed up on my Instagram feed of Rick Beato talking about arpeggios. I don't really play that way. I do in little chunks. So to try to and the nice thing about arpeggios, just like the nice thing about bar chords, is once you learn one, it's totally movable. So you've really learned 12. So that's kind of cool. I like, the arpeggios that I use probably the most are the ones built around the E form and the A form chords. So like A minor 7 here and E minor 7, A minor 7 up here. And I don't use that one very often. Not the whole thing. I might use, a part of it. In fact, we'll even do that. So we'll learn a full arpeggio here at the 5th fret for A minor. And then we'll just take it in 4-note chunks too, because I feel like that's much more usable. To sit here and kind of go, I mean, my hands don't want to do it, but it's just, and it sounds like an exercise, because it is. I almost prefer, and I can take that A minor arpeggio and just take that G down to F sharp, and what is it? It would be here. No, probably, I don't know what the best way to do that. And I can apply the D7 chord, the 5 chord. We're talking about a 2-chord jam, and we're talking about, hey Pepper, good to see you. Yeah, like this video if you get a chance. The 2-chord, the 2-5-1 or the 2-5 progression is a very, very common jam progression. Probably why you were thinking it sounded like. It's fairly simple to play over. Now, in particular, this one versus the one we did before. The one we did before was A7 to D7. We're technically in 2 different keys. You can't just play one scale over both those chords and have everything work 100%. I mean, I could get away with doing the blues scale over to A minor pentatonic, and I can make it work. But ultimately, you have that tension or the conflict between the C natural and the C sharp with the A7 and the D7. Don't have that when we go A minor 7 to D7. You can play A minor 7 like this, top 4 strings, 5th fret. In fact, that's a ukulele tuning, except this note is up an octave. So it'd be like, my dog has fleas. But, okay. And then we could go to a D9 chord if we just take that note down one and then bar, get those top 3. And that's D9. And so D9 has many of the notes that are in the A minor 7. It has 3 of the 4 notes in the A minor 7. The only one we need to get rid of is that G. We need to take it down to F sharp. So, for... All I'm doing is taking the top 3 strings up. Very, very common over a 9 chord, okay? Like you might hear something like over D9, you might... Over the A minor 7, that's not as common, but over the D9, okay, we've got that D dominant kind of sound. We have the C and the E and the A, and those are all notes in the D9. And then when we slide up here, we have a D and an F sharp, which are in a D chord. D is the root and F sharp is the third. And then we have a 6th, totally fine, because we might do something like this to that D9 chord. Right? I love doing that, make it a 13th. So you can totally get away with that over the D9. Love that sound. And that chord's fine as a passing chord. None of those notes work. None of those notes are technically in either chord, but it works as a nice little passing thing. Yeah, any note will work as a passing note, as long as you don't sit on it, you know. If I sat on that. Sounds like I'm insane. So if you want to sound like you're insane, stop on the passing chord. You have to clean out your car and get new tires. What? Why do you have to clean out your car? You're afraid the new tire people are going to be making fun of your dirty car? You got a flat tire, so you replace all the tires? Literally right now, I have 4 different tires. I don't know if I told you about the guy that slashed my tire when Beth was driving my car when she went to a Goodwill in Oxnard, and the guy slashed the tire, and when she started to drive off, she pulled over, was like, oh shoot, what happened? And because I wasn't with her, and the guy pulled up and said, oh, can I help you? Can I give you a ride somewhere? Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm not letting you give me a ride anywhere. And then we got the car, I changed the tire, put the spare on, got the car to a place, and he said, oh no, somebody stabbed your tire. I went, you're kidding. My car is always clean, pretty much empty, because I'm always putting gear in the trunk, so I can't have anything in the trunk. The trunk, if I open my trunk right now, you wouldn't see a single thing in there, because there are times where I have to just pack it full of guitars. But anyway, not why you're here. Okay, so let's look at let's look at, for one thing, this A minor chord here. The full arpeggio. Okay, and by arpeggio, what that means is you play every note in the chord. If it's a triad, it's only 3 notes. If it's a 7th chord, it's 4 notes, right? We talked about this a million times. I don't know, you're probably going, why is the 7th chord 4 notes? You got the root, you got the 3rd, the 5th, and the 7th. That's 4 notes. A triad is 3. 7th chord, you're like, why don't you call it a quadrad? I don't know why. We should start calling it a quadrad. A 7th chord could be a quadrad, but it is 4 notes. And if you see down here, over here, I've got the notes in an A minor 7 written out and a D7 written out. And so if I play all the notes in an A minor 7 here at the 5th fret, which is where we have a nice big A minor 7 chord, okay, that's 5, 7, 5, 5, 5, 5, fret-wise, okay? Really, you're right here, you're making most of the arpeggio with just seeing that. But if we go 5th fret on the bottom string, then 8th fret with a pinky, 7th fret with the 3rd finger, 5th fret with the 1st finger, and then 7th fret with the 3rd finger. Let's go that far again. 5th fret to 8th fret, on the next string 7th fret, next string 5, 7. Oh, Dennis is here. So we've got everybody. Guten Morgen, guten evening. What's the word for evening? Is it evening? You said good evening. Guten Morgen, and then guten evening. We're going to learn something today. It may not be related to guitar. So you can just play that little bit. And the notes we have there are A, C, E, G, A. So we have a full octave of this A minor 7 arpeggio. And it kind of feels nice to play. You kind of have a little sweeping thing going on probably over here. You could down, up, down, down, up, down, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going down, up, down, up, down, up, 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 down, up, down, up. Oh, I have a kitty cat, don't I? Is that a kitty cat? Well, hi. You come here to show him your little poofy tail there? Your little rat tail? We have to get her hair cut. They give her a lion cut. She looks really positively ridiculous. Like she's got boots and a poof on her tail, like a Dr. Seuss poof on her tail, and then she's got a big mane. But she gets, her fur gets so matted we can't brush her fast enough. It just happens overnight. So we have to go get her shorn. Doesn't bother her. She doesn't seem to care about the matted fur. It just looks mangy as all get out. Okay, so that little bit of it, and then we keep going. We've got the 5th fret of the 3rd string, the 5th fret of the 2nd string, the 8th fret of the 2nd string, and then we get to the 2nd octave with the 5th fret of the 1st string. Okay, if we keep going, the next note is C. It's right there. Well, if you look at that, the 4 notes of the minor pentatonic descending are all 4 notes in the A minor 7 arpeggio. In fact, when you play a pentatonic scale, you're playing an A minor pentatonic scale. You're actually playing an A minor 7 arpeggio plus a D note. Okay, you're adding I guess the 4th or the 11th, however you want to think of it. But I never think of it that way. I never think of A minor pentatonic or any minor pentatonic as being a minor 7 arpeggio with the 4th added. That would be an example of overthinking it. But it's the easiest way to play a minor 7 arpeggio is just to play that snippet of the minor pentatonic. And that's all over the fretboard. Those things are, there's E minor, and then here if we did A minor again right here. So you have a lot of these minor 7 arpeggios all over the fretboard and super duper easy to play. So that's a good thing to notice, but the problem kind of with that is maybe that when you play it, it sounds like you're playing a pentatonic scale and not an A minor arpeggio, A minor 7 arpeggio. So let's break this up into groupings of 4, okay? And you could practice it this way too if you wanted to start to work on it. But this is, again, just one position of a minor 7 arpeggio. Start at the bottom here, 5th fret, 6th string, 8th fret, next string, 7th fret, and then 5th fret of the 4th string. Okay, the next group would be starting on the 8th fret of the bottom string, and that would be starting on the C note. So we're starting on the 3rd of the arpeggio, and then we play the 7th fret of the 5th string, the 5th fret of the 4th string, and the 7th fret of the 4th string, and that's our root. So in every one of these chunks, you're going to have all 4 of the notes in the A minor 7. You're going to have an A, a C, an E, and a G. But here we're starting on C, E, G, and then here's our root, A. See that? So I just did those 2 chunks, one right after the other. The bottom string, 5th fret, 8th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, and then I went down here to the 8th fret on the bottom string, 7th fret, 5th fret, and then 8th fret. Or, sorry, 7th fret. And then a little tough if we want to get down to the 5th, we kind of have to do a roll, okay? A finger roll. And that's a very common tool to use when you're playing on 2 adjacent strings on the same fret. So basically, I'm playing that 4th string kind of more with the meat of my, the little meaty part here of my 3rd finger. And then I'm rolling up. See this? I'm rolling it. And now you can see that my tip is on that. Okay, so you might have to. So play these first two groupings. And so instead of using the tip on this note, because we know we're going to this note, it's a setup. You're setting yourself up. It's kind of like the Boy Scouts motto, right? Be prepared. So you got to be prepared. And so if you do the fatty part of your finger on the fourth string at the 7th fret, then you can just roll it and get that 7th fret of the 5th string. And then the next group is going to be the 5th fret, 7th fret, and the 5th fret. And now again, we're just looking at a chunk of the pentatonic scale. Let me just put up here. Here's the A minor jam, just one chord. Okay, so there's a good little exercise right there. I started on the root, I ended on the root. And all I did was I did 4-note chunks of the A minor 7 arpeggio. I wish I could write it out really fast, but and now technically if I were to continue the pattern, the next note would be the 7th, because I started on the root, then I started on the 3rd, then I started on the 5th, and that was the pattern. The next would have been the 7th in the pattern. Oh. It's not really good. Oh, here. But if I'm just creating a phrase, or I want to have some resolution sooner than later to land on that root note right there, makes sense. All right. And you could start on the pinky note on that C note if you want to just practice that roll. Again, if there's a new technique you're learning, isolate that technique. And so what I'm doing here is I'm practicing that 3rd finger roll, where I'm using the fat of the finger and then rolling to the tip of the finger. I could do the entire pentatonic, the entire arpeggio, that pattern. But in all of that, I'm only doing that finger roll once. And so if I just loop that one little section, I might get pretty good at that finger roll just by practicing that one little section. So, let's see. Everybody have any questions? Flat tires are never fun. Yeah, I had to blow out on the freeway, and I had to pull over to the left on the freeway. Fortunately, there was a shoulder on the left, and I called 911 because there had been a couple stories in the news the past few weeks when this happened, where people changing tires got hit and killed by drivers. So I called the highway patrol, and the guy was really cool. He put his car behind mine and a little over so that people wouldn't get anywhere near me, because I had to change the tire on the side of the freeway. He didn't help me change the tire, but I was changing the tire in literally my right foot as I was kneeling down was in the lane. And if somebody came too close or wasn't paying attention, yeah, I would have been. But with the police car there, everybody was giving me a wide berth. But yeah, it literally just exploded. Hey, Christopher, what's going on? Good to see you. How many do we have? AJ, sorry, good to see you. I didn't say hi. Removes the cloak of invisibility. Oh, we're climbing at 23. Awesome. Well, let's keep going. Okay. So that's new skills are good to have, and that rolling thing is really useful. Doing that finger roll thing is really, really useful. Okay. Yeah, I have AAA. I probably had AAA I had AAA at the time because I've had AAA pretty much my whole life. Yeah, I didn't call AAA. Usually I call AAA when my battery dies. And then they just, instead of jumping me, they just sell me a new battery. It's kind of like, well, then just call yourself battery salesman. Okay, so, oh yeah, your battery's too old. All right. Okay. All right, so we're doing groupings of 4 on this arpeggio. We left off there. We're going to go, oh, well, you know what? We have another, if we're going to continue this, we got a finger roll here with the first finger. So check this out. Finger roll. And right there, play that with me. 7th fret on the 5th string, 5th fret of the 4th string, 7th fret of the 4th string, and then 5th fret of the 3rd string. Right? And that just feels like a pentatonic lick. But now roll, so get that last note with the fat of your first finger, and then use the tip of your first finger to get that G note right there, that 5th fret of the 4th string. And then that's the beginning of the next group. And then we're going to do it again. All right, now again, this is an exercise. Would I use this? No, my main goal is just for you to see these little snippets, but we're just joining them together to create an exercise. All right, so we're here on the G note, 5th fret, then we go 3rd fret, 3rd finger at the 7th fret, then 2 5th frets. That sounds like yellow. Yellow is the color of your energy, my energy, or whatever. Is that 311? Also, that's a Charlie Parker lick that got used for the Woody Woodpecker theme. Something like that. But that's that particular is an A minor 7 arpeggio. It's that right there, which is our next snippet. So 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string, then we're going to play 5th fret and 5th fret adjacent. 3rd string, then 2nd string. And then we're going to go to the pinky, which is at the 8th fret of the 2nd string. And so it's A, C, E, G, just like these letters, just like just like those notes there, A, C, E, G. Those are the notes in an A minor 7 arpeggio, or A minor 7 chord. And that's a great little arpeggio to start with. Maybe go to that F sharp, and then that way we can get to the D chord. If we do, see, I don't have the D chord right now, but check this out. No, is it here? Play that. A, C, E, G, F sharp. I'm starting at the 7th fret. 7, 5, 5, 8, 7. Those are the frets. 4th string, 3rd string, 2nd string, 2nd string, 2nd string. Now maybe slide into that last note. That makes it a little jazzier. If you have that down, maybe hit double notes. Give you some options. mix it up a little bit. Single note, single, double, single, double. That was 16th notes. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. All right, so we haven't gotten to the D7 arpeggio yet. And then if we continue from here on this snippet, I see I see that all the time. That one is really, and the nice thing about the D, did I do that? I don't know if I did. So, I don't think I put a ninth in that. Let me look. I don't hear a ninth in there. I just hear a seventh. But I may have put a ninth. Let's see. Oh yeah, there's a ninth in here. So if I change this, I move this E down here. A pure 8 D7. I could take that and make it a flat 9. Check this out. It's kind of cool, right? But if I have a 7th, if you're going to a D9 chord, you kind of don't want to play the flat 9. Although you could play it as a blues tone. Oh, so check it out. I'm just playing a pure blues scale right there, which works great over this chord progression. And what's happening is that blues note. So remember with pentatonic scale here. The A minor blues is 7th fret, 5th fret, 7th fret, 8th fret. There's the money tone right there, and then 5th fret. I love this, just doing those 5 notes descending, because it creates this grouping of 5, which is very unusual. Music's so much about 4s and 2s and things like that. But so if I'm doing 16th notes at 5, that means that it takes a while for those 5 notes over 16th notes to kind of show back up at the downbeat. But if you're going to a D9 chord, then you wouldn't necessarily want to do like a D7 flat 9 arpeggio, which is just kind of like a diminished chord. I almost wouldn't put the root in there necessarily. So if I was playing, I might just play a pure. Like that. So we'll talk about that in a second, maybe if we get to it. Okay. All right, so that's the next snippet of this full A minor arpeggio. I forgot, you got to get that note. And you can always visualize the next note up when you get to the end of any arpeggio like this. Like the next note is this E note, right? Because A, C, E, G. Okay, so we just played C, E, G, A. And you can practice these little snippets of this arpeggio. You can practice them as a little lick by themselves. The bottom 4 notes. And the next 4 notes. And try to figure out the best way to pick them. I'm like, or pull off. And then the next 4. Yeah, technically, I guess you could call it that, Gary. And this little snippet here is hard to say. Hard to play. You might do. I can play that really fast. So instead of playing the E here, if I play the E up here, I can play it like a little fast, little rock and roll pentatonic lick. But when it's like you got to do a little sweepy thing. And then this little piece of it here, I do all the time. Okay, that just lays in the hand really nice. It's all four of the notes in order: A, C, E, G, and then the next snippet. You could try to find alternative ways to finger it, and this one just is the rock and roll, almost like the kind of like a Freebird or something, right? Now, Gary, I wouldn't think of it. I certainly would not call this. That's a D9 chord. I would not call that D7 sus2. That's way too much work. Again, the shorthand probably was developed. I certainly got a lot of shorthand in my transcribing when I was trying to teach a kid how to play a song in 30 minutes. You get pretty quick at giving them something they can use. The other thing is, all it is the ninth, and we've already done the seventh, so it's 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. So it would be the next note. So on a D7, if we go D, F sharp, A, C, we're going to do this now. The next note would be an E, all right? But if you want to have that, like in jazz, to be honest, I would say that the dominant seventh, a non-ninth chord would be more common than a ninth chord there. For a 2-chord vamp, oh heck yeah. A minor 7 to D9 all day long, no problem. But if it was a 2-5 that was going to the 1 and then maybe to the 6th, dominant 6th or minor 6th, in that scenario you might avoid the ninth, because you might want to use the flat 9 to create that tension to go to the 1 chord. You see what I'm saying? So if I was just to do 2 chords and I'm never going to the 1 chord, I'm just doing 2, 5, 2, 5, then all day long you can do the 9th chord for the 5 chord. I'm throwing all these numbers out, but you can totally do a D9 chord there in that place. But if I were going to go to a G major 7 from that point, if I just play a pure D7, okay, a couple things happen. One, I'm not giving away the ninth, you know. If I do D flat 9, okay, or if I do D sharp 9, you know, all that tension right there gets resolved beautifully when I hit that G major 7 chord. And the G major 7 chord that I'm hitting is 5, 7, 7, 7. Okay? It's like this D major 7. I'm just playing it up here. That's just pretty, going back and forth between those two. I'm the Bob Ross of guitar teachers. That's just beautiful. Listen to that. The D major 7 to the G major 7. Let's paint a mountain. Okay. Hey, Wendy, what's going on? No, Tom, lie to me. What? You want me to lie to you? Gary. So if I'm playing a D7, then I'm free as an improviser, or if I'm playing rhythm and I play a D7, then the person that's soloing is free to go to that sharp 9, that flat 9, or the 9. Any of those are fair game, because I'm not even implying anything. I'm just playing a D7 chord, which are the notes right here: D, F sharp, A, C. The ninth is that E. But if I don't apply that and I'm going to the G chord, then I could do right. I could do that flat 9. It sounds kind of cool. Or I can go to the can do that flat, the sharp 9 to the flat 9 to the root, something like that. It sounds really out, but it's really. So yeah, but for the sake of just, I mean, you wouldn't necessarily be wrong to say D7 sus2. If somebody wrote that on a chart, I'd be like, wait, what? It would take me a minute to go, you mean D9? I would think it was a trick question. I would think, wait, he doesn't want a D9, so what does he want? Does he want a D9 with no D in it? Okay, I can do that. There's no D in that. Okay, there's a D in this one, but not in this one. So I'm like, because the sus2 implies that you're suspending away the 2, you're suspending away from the 1. Or is it implying that you don't want a third, a D9 with no third? You know that might be basically an A minor 7 chord. So I don't know. Oh, to be honest. Yeah. That's funny. To be honest, I don't want you to lie to me. To be honest, it's funny because at church we did I Can Only Imagine. They did the gospel choir did an a cappella arrangement of I Can Only Imagine. And I'm standing up there and I got nothing better to do because it's a cappella, so I can't play guitar on it, right? So I'm just standing there listening, and I went, wait a minute, he's not imagining anything. He's using I Can Only Imagine colloquially as I have no idea. So when he says, will I be standing in praise, or will I be on my knees, or will I be, he's like asking all these questions. I'm like, he's imagining a bunch of questions. Anyway, so many of you don't know the song I Can Only Imagine, but if you do, I just thought it was funny. The G and L, I'm just playing quiet, and I'm in my Pat Metheny setting, so it's bookmarked, totally bookmarked. Okay, well, we're back to the A minor 7 to D7 or D9 jam, and I changed it here to D7. See, like right there, I'm doing kind of a D. It's kind of a blues thing, but at the same time, it's really kind of a D7 with a flat 9 arpeggio. And if I had that it doesn't work really. It doesn't work as well. It's very subtle. The lack of it working is a pretty subtle thing, but when I go to a pure D7 chord as the 5 chord and there's no 9 in there, then I'm free again to play a flat 9 or a sharp 9 or a 9. Any of those will work. But once you play a 9th chord, you're defining the 9th again. And we talked about this a long time ago, but I'm sure you don't remember, but there's actually, I don't know, Gary, I don't know if you, Sam, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but sometimes you might just see D7 alt, A-L-T, altered. And so when it says that, okay, I'm going to show you something really cool right now. I'm getting a little off track here, but here's that D9 chord, okay? And if I want to have a D in it, I can play that, but I got a bass player, so I don't need to play that. But here's the A minor 7. You could play that, right? It's a great bar chord to say, I can play a bar chord, yay! Okay, you go take that bottom note, G, down to F sharp, and then play it like this, all right? So that's a D9 chord. Okay, here's a really, really cool little thing. Yeah, we're gonna have a nice day. It's gonna be like 83 today. Lovely. I might lay out by the pool. Actually, I got things I got to do today, so I probably won't lay out by. I'll turn into a crispy cookie or something if I lay out there. Okay, so if I look at these four notes, I have an F sharp, which is the third. I have I have the C, which is the seventh of the D down here. Okay, and then if I go, that's the E, that's the ninth, right? And then this is an A, that's the fifth. Okay, check this out. This is the ninth, this is the fifth. This is a D9 chord, okay? If I want D7, sharp 9, sharp 5, you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Well, here's the 9 and the 5. You just do that. Take those two notes up a fret, and you get these two plus these two with a D in the bass, and that's a D7, sharp 9, sharp 5. What about a flat 9, flat 5? Whoa, what? Look at that. That's just an A7 chord, or A flat 7 chord. But I put a D in the bass. And that's D7, flat 9, flat 5. Usually I say flat, I say the 5, then the 9. So D7, flat 5, flat 9. Okay? I could do D7, sharp 9, flat 5. So I take the 9 up and the 5 down, and you get this little shape. And what that is 4, 5, 6, 4. That's why this is such a great chord, this D9 chord, because you can take it and turn it into, and so that's what alt means. Alt means altered. So if it's a D7 altered, yeah, C is the dominant seventh of D. If you say D7 altered, they want a D7 chord, and then it's dealer choice on the 5 and 9. I don't think you would play a D9 simply a D9 if it said D7 altered. You really do want to mess it up. So you want to maybe sharp the 5 and flat the 9 and get this, or maybe flat the 9 and or sharp the 9 and flat the 5. Get that, or flat both of them, or sharp both of them. But it's really that easy when you just look at these notes, and then you can go, like this way, or you can go this way. The other thing you could do, technically, D altered could be like D7 flat 9, so we're just flatting the 9 and leaving the 5 as it is. Or it could be D9 flat 5, or D9 sharp 5. So you can alter only one of them, but usually if it says altered, so if you alter both of them, you've got four variations. You could be both of them sharped, both of them flatted, one sharp, the 9 sharped and the 5 flatted, or the 9 sharped and the 5 flat. I don't know. I'm losing track. 9 flatted and the 5 sharped. I don't want to lose you in the weeds here, but, and again, that would be a chord that you wouldn't use that in a, I mean, you might, but you're going to have to accommodate it. You'd really have to kind of make some kind of accommodation for that. You might make some weird scale or something that would work over that. There's always some way to play over, because essentially like that, like I said, that's just basically an A flat 13. So however you would play over A flat 13 is maybe how you would play over D7 sharp 9 sharp 5. Again, I'm deep in the weeds here, so I don't want to. Let's stop that. Leave the gun, take the cannoli. Exactly. All right. Yeah, C sharp would be a major 7th, and you really wouldn't. That would be a wholly different kind of 2-chord vamp. The nice thing about this 2-chord vamp, A minor to D7, I could play A minor, A Dorian scale. Which is just a G major scale starting on A, going to A. Or I could think of a D mixolydian scale if I want to do that, which is G major scale going D to D. the problem with that is if you're playing a D Mixolydian scale, and you're thinking, oh, okay, root is D. You're going to land on Ds. Well, you land on a D and it's an A minor chord. It sounds like a suspension, so it doesn't necessarily work as well. Hey, Ed, what's going on? Good to see you. I mean, it sounds fine, but it doesn't sound resolved. Whereas if you think of the A Dorian scale over this, and you land on an A note, A note works on the A chord, and it also works on the D chord. But I don't really necessarily think it's A minor Dorian, or I don't try to simplify it by thinking one scale over a progression. Ultimately, yeah, probably initially you can think that way, but ultimately you want to just think melodies, ideas. You want to play something that people want to listen to, and nobody wants to listen to you practice. So if you're playing over something you want. You want to kind of go somewhere or tell a story with your soul, but if you just do a scale or just do an arpeggio, you're not. But today I'm showing you arpeggios. How about that? Okay, let's do a D7 arpeggio. There's a couple ways we can kind of approach it from in this position. We can kind of go like this, or like this, or we reach out. Oops. I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on that, but I may not play the D7 arpeggio down here, but we can start with this bit here. Again, the D7 chord or D9 chord or D7 chord like this. So the D7 chord like this one is the C chord with the pinky added on the third string, 3rd fret. Play the middle 4 strings, and that's C7. Go up a fret, that's C sharp 7. You go up another fret, and that's D7. So that's one shape. The other shape, the D7, would be like this A7. Would be a bar chord. And so I'm 5, 7, 5, 7, 5. Top 5 strings. I'm not hitting the bottom string. Okay, and then the D9 is 5, 4, 5, 5, 5. I'm barring the top 3 strings with my 3rd finger in that. So any of those chords will work there to visualize this. But basically, we start with our 2nd finger on the D note at the 5th fret of the 5th string, and we play the F sharp here at the 4th fret of the 4th string, and then we go to the 7th fret of the 4th string. And there's our D triad. And then the 7th is here at the 5th fret of the 3rd string. Now let's play that. D, F sharp, A, C, A, F sharp, D. All right, if we want to get to that full octave, we just go to the pinky here at the 7th fret of the 3rd string and we get the D note. If I add the 9th in there, I get that B.B. King pentatonic scale. I don't know. It's probably just a well hand-oiled rosewood fingerboard. I'm sorry, rosewood, but it could be ebony. I like ebony. I actually prefer ebony to rosewood, but I don't know. The difference between ebony and rosewood, that's a good question. Ebony is standard, isn't it? Isn't ebony more like, but I remember rosewood fingerboards. Okay, you got to see Alex's suit that he wore at his wedding. Sorry, we're going to get off onto a tangent here, but let's see. Boop, 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 boop. So, close this. Oops. Oh, dang it. All right. Bring this over here. See, I think somebody took a picture of me and Alex playing And Your Bird Can Sing. So Alex and I performed And Your Bird Can Sing. So I kid you not, the wedding, it was Alex and his buddies did a Beatles cover band. He worked on this for weeks leading up to the wedding. No. Where is the video of, okay. It was from Brad Bachman. Brad, are you there? We haven't seen Brad, so, but Brad took this photo of me and Alex. Yeah, here we go. Let's see if I can find a good one here of, I can't really see Alex's suit. But let's see if this picture drops in. Oh, look at that. Look how big it is, though. Holy cow. It's not going to work. It's going to take me an hour just to resize it. There's got to be a way to, is there a way to, look, so there's me, there's Alex. See, I'm wearing a bolo tie that I made back in the 80s. Alex is wearing his nudie suit. This is, in the corner here is his wife. And there on the drums is his friend Free from the band Oblio. So check out the band Oblio. But there we are. At his wedding playing And Your Bird Can Sing. So he's playing the melody, I'm playing the harmony. And super good exercise for me. Let's see, I got to find a good picture of his nudie suit here. And it's called a nudie suit because Nudie Cohen was the guy that kind of invented it or got famous making them for like Porter Wagner and all that. And let's see. Yeah, so here's the whole family. There you go. So you see that? Isn't that awesome? Sorry, Brian. I'm sidetracked now onto why I wasn't here last Monday. So we had a lot of family in town, and the wedding was on Wednesday at Hollywood Press. But there's my son-in-law on the far left, my daughter, my wife. Alex, and his wife, Avriel, and there's me and my son, Jack. And, yeah, my boys are about 4 inches taller than me. So, crazy. But that's from the wedding. All right. Let's remove that. All right, so back. Yep, Graham Parsons wore one. Like I said, Porter Wagner, so many... A lot of the Bakersfield guys, because they were made in North Hollywood, which is funny or Burbank, and that's where Alex got this. It was a different guy that made it, and Alex designed it, and the guy made it for him. So it was pretty amazing. When he came out of the wedding, everybody cheered. The whole church erupted in applause. Yeah, they did do some band, because his bandmates were in the wedding too, so... They did do some band photos with that suit. He hadn't worn it out in public before that. So, okay. So we have that little D7 snippet. Okay, and so we can practice that. Let me just vamp the D7 chord here. It's right. Where is it? I don't know. Come on, there we go. Yeah, let's. Yeah, that's the 9th. I want to put the... Okay, so this is a D7. Okay, so 5th fret, and then F sharp, 4th fret, and then 7th fret, and then 5th fret, and then 7th fret. Backwards, 7, 5, and then 4, and then 5. So there are 2 notes in common with the A minor, and that's the A and the C sharp, or the C natural. So those 2 notes, you'll notice over here, you have an AC on the A minor 7, and you have an AC on the D7. And then the other 2 notes are that change are the E. You can think of the E as going down to D, and the G going down to F sharp. And if you kind of visualize that, so here's the E, and here's the G over the A minor, right? You can see that. So there's the E and the G, and here's the D and the F sharp. Yeah, I actually made bolo ties in the 80s. I should probably take that skill up again. But I was working for a company, a jewelry company, to pay the bills, man. I had to do, it's like, I didn't wow Los Angeles. I didn't wow Hollywood when I first got here. It was a lot of who, not wow. Like, who are you? We don't care. There was a whole lot of, nothing going on. So I had to get a job, I had to work. I had to pay the bills. So one of my guitar students I had a friend who had started a jewelry company with his girlfriend. She was making costume jewelry and selling it at little like beach boutiques. And then her boyfriend said, hey, we can make this into a real enterprise. And so they start hiring people, and they got a rep in downtown LA, and then all of a sudden Macy's is buying. It's so funny because we literally sold jewelry to both Disneyland and Fredericks of Hollywood. And I would have to, eventually what I was doing was delivery, because they were so unorganized, and they would get, Susan would design these things with parts that she found at hardware stores or bead shops or whatever. And then she would get an order for 10,000 of them, and then she couldn't find the parts. So I would, I'd be driving all over LA trying to find 10,000 of these things that she welded on there or whatever. The crazy thing, my bolo tie, I still have. I made that one, and they let me keep stuff, but it wasn't expensive. Materials weren't that expensive. But I was rushing filigrees to platers to be plated, so, that was a stinky, messy job, but I didn't have to do it. I just had to drop stuff off and pick it up. And the crazy thing is, like, mine's kind of like a cross, and she would antique things. She figured out ways to antique things with a black plastic stone that you glue in. Actually, before you glue it in, she would paint it with red fingernail polish, and it would turn the stone green because it was a black stone, and the color opposite of red is green. So I guess the black reacted with the red and turned it to green. So it's weirdest thing. She kind of figured this out on her own, I guess. There was no internet back then. And so she just would do these things. And this is like, oh, this is the process I did. So then she'd have to show people how she did it, and they would do it in the factory. And then I'd have to go out and find this bolt that she used for something or something. It was hilarious. So. A bolo ties probably served a purpose. I don't know what it was, but probably because ties would get dirty if you wore them out and about in the prairie. But yeah, bolo ties were really big in the 80s. I wish I had the one I made that was like a bunch of fake diamond stones in a circle. I made that one, and I don't know what happened to it. The stones started falling out or something, so I probably threw it away. But I was at a backstage at a concert, at Amy Grant concert in L.A., and Michael W. Smith was there, and he saw my bolo tie, and he wanted it, and I wouldn't sell it to him. I said, but I'll make you one. And I gave him my phone number, but he never called. So. People didn't even have cell phones, you know, to take pictures back then. So it was like he couldn't even take a picture of it and go, oh, I'll have one made. No. So, okay. So the D7 arpeggio so far we've got is D, F sharp, A, C, okay? And we got to a full octave from there. Let's go from there. We have 7th fret, 7th fret, 5th fret, and the pinky, which is the 8th fret, and that's our 7th. That's the C natural. And if you want to get another octave, just slide up 2 frets and get that D note. Like I said, it's always good to know what the next note is up, and even down too. Oops, sorry. Good. So the note below D in the D7 arpeggio is a C, and I can play it there too. If I played it this way. I play the C there. But we learned it here. So D, play this second finger on the 5th fret of the 5th string, then 1st finger on the 4th fret of the 4th string, then pinky on the 7th fret of the 4th string, 2nd finger on the 5th fret, 7. Oh, we gotta lay down the pinky to get that 7. So that D to F sharp is right there. And then maybe get with your 1st finger here on that A note, and then you can use your pinky or 3rd finger on the C note, and then you can reach up and grab that D note, or you can slide up. Sorry, I'm getting some text. Oh, no. So. All right. Oh, who called? Oh. Sweetwater called. Oh, cool. They have a Phoenix distribution center. I didn't know Sweetwater had a Phoenix distribution center. Well, that helps me. Oh, Buffalo Nickel. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, you can't keep everything. That's right. You could have had a Kodak Instamatic. I know. I don't know if there's a picture of me wearing that bolo tie. I think, let's see, if I go to Dropbox, there we go. Boop, boop. Would have been the year that, oh, that's totally wrong. Wait, did I go, oh no, I went to, that's 96, not one, 86. 86, let's see. Yeah. Somewhere there's a picture of me wearing a suit, and I think I'm wearing a bolo tie. Oh my gosh, some of these pictures. I wish let's see, slow. No. I don't know where it is. Oh, maybe it was 85 before I knew Beth. No. So, yeah, but I met Beth in 86. We got married in 87. It went quick. When you find the right one, you snag her. I don't know if she felt the same way about me. She would say that, but I had to convince her. Okay. Okay, so check this out. Let's play a little A minor arpeggio. This little bit here, right? 7th fret of the 4th string, 5th fret, 5th fret, 8th. Okay, and then here we have, there's a little snippet of the D7 arpeggio. So again, 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the 4th string. That's an A note. Then the C note, which is the 5th fret of the 3rd string. And then the 7th fret of the 3rd string. And then lay that down and get the 7th fret of the 2nd string. And there's our F sharp. So F sharp, D, C, A. And then we go to the other arpeggio, we have A, C, E, and G. Try to go back and forth between those two. And if I play the whole progression, let me put in. Now you can, I mean, ultimately you can learn finding the big arpeggios like this. All of that, not real useful necessarily, and they're not going to exist so many places. Like the other one you can really see is here. It's kind of based on this minor 7 form. But what you can do is you can see little snippets of the A minor in more usable shapes, rather than this big giant sweeping arpeggio that you may or may not ever use. But I might go, and then I go to the D7, same thing. So there's definitely arpeggios around, A minor 7 arpeggios everywhere on the fretboard, D7 arpeggios. Basically, every arpeggio exists all over the fretboard. So it is definitely a major chore to try to find them. Would I recommend you going through and learning every minor 7 No. But what I would do is I would set up, some jam tracks, or pull up a jam track on YouTube. I don't know, did I do a 2/5 jam track? Do I have one of those? Probably went A to D if I did. But if you do that, then you just kind of add a couple things to your repertoire. But again, I'm not even a big fan of the arpeggio, but it's good to know that they're there, because when I do really want you'd really hear that G to F sharp. That's one of the main moments when you're going from A minor 7 to D7. When you're going from any 2 chord to any 5 chord, it's that dominant 7th of the 2 chord going to the 3rd of the 5 chord. But in this case, play that G. Down to F sharp. Combine that information with the root of each chord. So I'm playing the G and the F sharp, but alternate. Play A, because A is in both those chords, right? And so is a C. Years, holy cow. That's a long time. I mean, I'm sure there were extenuating circumstances. Yeah, Beth and I, we met in, I think, January or February of '86, and we got engaged that fall. And I've told this story before, but I think one of the catalysts for it was there was a young couple also on staff with Campus Crusade for Christ, and they had 2 little kids, and she got cancer. They were probably 30, and they'd been married maybe 6 years or something, 7 years. And she got cancer and died. And we went to the funeral. And I'm sitting there going, at the funeral of, this woman who left behind a young husband and 2 kids, little kids. And I was sitting there with Beth, and I was like, yeah, I couldn't live without this woman. I need to, And so we had a pretty serious conversation after that funeral about, hey, and she was actually voted by her sorority least likely to get married. She had no intention. Hey, Richard, what's going on? She kind of had no intention to get married, but so I had to kind of convince her. I was like, because her both of our parents, divorced, so she kind of was like, that's where marriage heads, and I'm like, yeah, not necessarily. And so we're at 37 years this year. So, but yeah, so we kind of actually, I think she wishes we got married right away or sooner. But we put it off because she had to go on the road with a band and because she was on staff, and they put her with a band, and she was traveling around singing with a band. And, so that was real. It was a pain. I think 14 months engagement, we were apart 11 of those months, and it was no fun. And you're also at a season in your life where you're trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to do? So that's funny. He pronounced you married many years before we did it. When we filled out separate forms, he looked at us and said, how long have you been together? You're married. Well, now, I don't know. It's common law. I think in Louisiana, 7 years, if you live with someone 7 years, you're technically married. And that mostly benefits, at the time, probably benefited the woman because it would be community property. So 54 years, dang, well done. I don't know if I'll make it to 54. I have to live to be that old. I don't know. We'll see. So hopefully I gave you enough to kind of think about. I would just try to find as many, and you can do this with the jam track, the A7 to D7. You can find as many seventh arpeggios as you can, or snippets of our seventh arpeggios. Remember, you're going to need the 1, the 3, the 5, and the 7. So it's 4 notes total. And then just repeat that. So you're 1 note away from a pentatonic scale. So, but it won't feel like a pentatonic scale, because it's why I'm not a big fan of just like playing arpeggios, because you know, the triad arpeggios are there's such a I just that kind of playing just, I mean, if you're really into that, great. I'm just not good at them. So, because I don't really use them. Very rarely when I'm reading music do I see that stuff. Now, we've talked about this before, though. On a mandolin, the triads are pretty easy to arpeggiate because a mandolin is tuned in fifths. So you have, it's like a pentatonic lick. It's so much easier, I feel like. Here, I'll show you. I'll be right back. So like here's a D note. So that's D, F sharp, A, D. G, D, A. And if I want to take that to major 7th, dominant 7th, minors with a major 7th, minor 7th, is literally, I'm playing D, F, A, C. The lore, yeah. I wish it were real lore. I don't know. The problem with owning a lore is I'd have to insure it. So, I mean, a lore could be a $200,000 instrument. And so insurance on that would be, I'd probably be paying $2,500 a year just to insure the dang thing. Just to own it. I'm like, because if something happened to it, you'd be out 200 grand. So I get that, but I can't justify owning anything that nice. If I had unlimited money, then I probably wouldn't insure it. I could just buy another one. But that would, you break your heart if you lost it. You'd be like, oh man, I lost that thing. But regardless, if you have it insured and you lose it, you still lose it. Just that they pay for it. But yeah, 200K. I played one. Brad's not here. But Brad's friend that I kind of met through him, Jack Ryan Sullivan, he had one. I don't know how he got one, and he brought it to Brad's father's house, and I played it there, and I have a picture of it somewhere. Beautiful instrument, played great, sounded amazing, and it's probably $150,000 instrument. Acoustic question. D18 or, hold on, I can't see it because somebody typed something. Because I can't quite see. Oh, wait, what is that? I can't see what it says. Sorry, Richard. It's under, triple aught 18. The triple aughts are kind of nice. The bodies are smaller, right? Oh, Brad is here. Oh, I didn't. What the heck, Brad? I didn't say hi. Does anybody have an opinion on that? I see Gary. Sorry, Gary. I'm sure I said hi to you. Oh, there's Club B. There's Brad. Just got here. So, yeah. Yeah, it was at Brad's father's house that I first played the Laura. Well, I'll probably never ever play another one, but I just couldn't. I couldn't justify the insurance. I hate paying. I mean, I pay insurance for all my gear. In fact, if you are looking for that kind of insurance, it's called Music Pro Insurance. I think if you just go musicproinsurance.com, all one word, they have, it's pretty good. It's like 1.25%, so $100,000 in coverage is going to cost you about $1,100. So that's not bad. And I've made a claim and they paid on it. Actually, one of the things I had covered was a laptop, and the motherboard died, and they bought me a new laptop. So it was $100 deductible. That's it. It's great. So it kind of covers everything. I think it's called an inland marine floater policy. So it's probably originally for cargo ships and stuff like that. But I don't know if you can get it at like your typical State Farm or someplace like that, AAA. I don't know if they offer it. I think my State Farm agent said they do offer it, but and I could talk to him about it. But and Brad, we'll have to get lunch maybe this week. We should maybe go get we'll go get some street tacos. That sounds good, right? And if any of you find yourself in the Los Angeles area, you should go to Malibu regardless. Malibu is a beautiful. Oh, it got blurry. Sorry, it'll catch up. Hopefully. All right. Oh well, we're gonna be blurry for a minute. Just makes me look younger and artier. But Brad has a store in Malibu called Malibu Music, and he's got some amazing guitars. A lot of Gibsons and Epiphones. So he's a Gibson and Epiphone dealer. And so he's got a lot of that there, and it'd be worth checking out. I think it's just a matter of time before people in Malibu start realizing it's there. I've never known there to be a guitar store in Malibu. I mean, I've lived here for 40 years, and I don't remember ever. I went to guitar stores all over the place, but Malibu is kind of hard to get to. But it's kind of one of those places where I would go there, hang out at the beach, get a good lunch, go to Malibu, buy a couple guitars, and then head home. Right? That would be the dream. Oh, come on, camera. So frustrating. If I go back, if I go back, does it catch on? See, where's it focused now? It's like focused. I walked away from the camera and it focused closer. See, it's focused on my hand. So if I go there and go slowly, come on, follow the hand, and it's still blurry. Ah, there we go. Okay, maybe that's the trick. I can never remember the trick. Next time you go down to La Jolla, yeah. Yeah, oh man, yeah, that would be cool. You should definitely do that. You get to, Brad might be there. He's there a lot. I don't know that he won. He's technically retired. But he's finding himself there. Yeah, Lloyd Loyer worked for Gibson and made mandolins for Gibson. Engineer, an acoustical engineer from Northwestern University, who worked for the Gibson Guitar Company just from 22 to 24. Yeah, anything he signed is worth boatloads of coin. Yeah, they're hard. They're not very common. Although I imagine in Michigan, Mandolin Brothers has a whole bunch of them. Let me look it up. Are they still around, Mandolin Brothers? Weren't they in like Grand Rapids or something? Mandolin Brothers Ltd. Mando Web, Mandolin Brothers. Is that really that? Is their URL? I guess so. Featured instruments. lore. Let me just look up a lore. All right. So I don't know if it still exists. Okay. We received somebody a mandolin. Oops, that page is lost. Yeah, I think this looks like a really old page. I don't think this goes anywhere. I don't know. Maybe they're not around anymore. They've got a Facebook page. Let me click on that and see what happens there. No. They have a joke, a dad joke. A young woman is on trial for beating her husband with his guitars. The judge asked, "First offender?" She replied, "No, judge, first a Gibson, then offender." I'm not buying another guitar for at least 12 months, and other hilarious jokes you can tell yourself. Yeah, they must. Well, it says always open. No, it's not. Oh, because it's probably. Yeah, I don't know that they're still. I don't know. So who would have? Oh. I was there. It's probably me sitting in the front row. Check this out. Let's see if I can drag. Will this drag there? No. Okay. I don't know if that's my head or not. Anyway, sorry. Who would have? Oh well, we'll go to reverb. I'll go just enter Gibson lore. Let's see what they're going for there. 145, 2 available. 23 F5, 145,000 in Tarzana. Oh, Norms, of course. I wonder if that's the one I played. I wonder if he's selling it. Here's another one, July 9th, 23, 177,000. There's another one, 159,000. Oh, they're all in California. What the heck? There's another one in Maryland for 125. Oh, it's a 25, so it's at post. It's not Lloyd Loar. So, yeah, they can't say it's a Lloyd Loar if it's not. Interesting. Yeah, it was a beautiful instrument. All right, yeah, we're losing viewers. I got to take care of some stuff today. Oh, in all music, all AI in Music Berkeley course. Anyone check out AIVA Stable Audio Music Talent? No. Musicify? No. It's funny because I think AI may put all of us musicians completely out of work in some ways. Like I may not be writing music for TV anymore. But I still think people are going to gravitate towards the artist thing, and you can't have an AI artist. No one's going to pay money to what, even all the drum machine bands, of the 80s, it didn't put drummers out of work. So, I've got a lot of opinions about the AI thing. I've thought about doing a video on it, but I haven't yet, obviously. But I haven't done much research on the AI thing. What little I have done is almost like, okay, that's cute, but that doesn't sound anything like a real Beatles song. My whole thing about AI creating Beatles songs and using the Beatles voices and even using their guitars and everything to create a new song and in the style of the Beatles is in the lyrics. It was just preposterous. It was like a bad parody of a Beatles song because AI can't see the future, really. What happens is, if I were to go to a group of people and say, hey, what's the next Beatle record sound like after Abbey Road or Let It Be? They could tell you because Baby I'm Amazed might be on it. My Sweet Lord might be on it. Imagine might be on it. You know, those all were songs that the individual Beatles wrote, and they were writing individually through most of the Beatles' time. That you could give a billion AI machines a billion years, and they would never write those three songs. Would never happen. So AI can't really do something that all of us already know what it sounds like. So, and apparently it uses a whole lot of energy. So I don't know if that's going to be real popular. I love the picture of the guy that has a stop sign T-shirt. We may just all start wearing stop sign T-shirts and making all the automated cars stop driving. You know, they'll just like keep stopping, thinking it's a stop sign. Yeah, I would say AI is more of a problem for visual artists, but again, there's no value. In some ways, it'll probably increase the value of real art created by a human. Same thing. I think people are still going to want to learn to play instruments. AI. I look. Check out this AI I created that plays mandolin for me. It's like, so what? That doesn't make any sense. It's like that doesn't, or is AI going to, they've already in schools they're already dealing with AI. But here's the problem. Check this out. Beth, had some Apex kids, which are kids that are they can't come into school for whatever reason, whether they're getting cancer treatment or anxiety issues or whatever. And she basically makes sure that they keep up on their studies on the computer. So she logs in every day with every student and makes sure that they're on task and turning in papers and all that stuff. Well, she got this one paper from a kid that normally doesn't write very good papers, and it was a little too good. So she copy and pasted like 5 paragraphs and put it into this AI detector, and it said something like 85% of it was copy and pasted from pre-existing things, right? Well, okay, that's not writing a paper. But the problem was Beth wrote, so they told the girl to rewrite the paper, and she was like, okay, so she rewrote the paper, and then they did the same thing with that paper, and it was like 87%. And so Beth typed a paragraph that she wrote 100%. She knows she wrote it. She typed it in, kind of riffing on something. I forget what it was, something constitutional or something. She copy and pasted it into the AI thing, and it said it was 77% plagiarized. And it was like she just wrote it without any references at all, right then and there. The problem with AI is it absorbs everything. And everything on the internet. And if we're gonna, if we want to take down AI, we just create blogs that say, black is white, black is white, black is white, black is white, or 1 is 2, 1 is 2, 0 is 1, 0 is 1 a billion times, and AI will believe it because it's out there, it's written, and AI doesn't really know what's true and what's not true. They don't have any discernment really to speak of. So, it was they kind of. One of the things that's going to happen, especially in the nicer schools, like my wife teaches at, she teaches at a very nice school where 25% of the graduating class goes to Ivy League schools. So they're not going to give it, JPL is in her district, Jet Propulsion Lab. So it's a lot of scientist kids and engineers and all that kind of stuff. So the kids are really smart and they're really respectful, and it's a very, very nice school to be working at. And they're just going to oral exams, or you're writing the paper right there and right in front. And if you can memorize, a 500-word paper or an 8-page paper or something like that, they're just going to have you write it right there in front of them. So yeah, it's recorded music will never. Yeah, in fact, pre-existing to AI was the fact that artists aren't really making money selling music anymore because Spotify doesn't pay enough, or Apple doesn't pay enough, or they don't sell physical copies of the record, and they aren't getting the big bucks like they used to, but they're touring. And that's why record companies, when they sign a record company with you, they take 25 or 50% of your touring revenue. It's positively ridiculous. don't know what this is. Oh. Okay. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. Elderly music. That's the one I was thinking of, not Mandolin Brothers. Elderly music, and they're still around. Okay. Yeah, even people have a hard time telling truth from lies. That's true. But I would say that people have a lot better ability to tell a lie when they're face to face with a person telling the lie. If it's in print, it's hard. But if it's face to face and somebody's lying to you, if your kid is lying to you, you know they're lying to you. If your spouse is lying to you, you're pretty sure they're lying to you. If your boss is lying to you, or your employee is lying to you, to your face, you can kind of, you're full of crap. But when AI just goes and what was it that story just came out about the Amazon employee that's suing and got fired because they said, go ahead, and it's called scraping. Go ahead and scrape all copyrighted material. We don't care. Everybody's doing it. We got to get there first. And so they were feeding, and she refused, and she got fired. And they were just basically taking every album, every song ever made, and putting it into AI. And I think we're still at the beginning of all this. And I think part of the reason I don't think we'll ever see self-driving cars is because who do we sue in an accident? We're going to sue Google. We're going to sue people with deep pockets. We're going to sue Tesla, whoever built the car. And the same thing's true with, if I hear something that I think is mine, or if BMI does a class action suit against some of these AI things, it's going to end. The lawyers will probably end up being the ones that kind of put an end to it, at least in some ways. AI can serve a lot of purposes and do a lot of jobs, but to create music, that's just a job it doesn't need to do. We have people to do that. But if there are jobs that people can't do, their brains can't work that fast or can't know that much, then it makes sense. But writing music, that's a job people do. There's no reason the AI to do it, in my opinion. And I'm not just trying to be protective. I know, the music industry already lost, 90% of its revenues when streaming came in. Initially, it was illegal streaming. You had Napster, and record companies saw a 90% drop in profits because people were, it was kind of at the same time that, labels were getting that retail price up to $17, $18 on a CD, and people were like, and the really thing, and Beato talked about this, and I've said this for decades, for literally since the 80s, I've been saying this. So the record companies screwing themselves because they'll put one good song on a record. They'll have a band come out and they'll promote the crap out of one song that they produced, and then the rest of the songs are just garbage. So you spent, $12 on an album. I mean, I have so many albums in my collection where I bought it for the one song that was a hit, thinking, oh, it's going to be a great record, and it was an awful record. I think of the Tubes, the best of the Tubes. The best of the Tubes, they didn't have any hits. The two hits they had were Toto songs with Fee Waybill singing on. Talk to You Later and She's a Beauty. Those are Toto songs. So it's like, it should have been, those records should have been on the best of Toto. And the best of, see, and that was another thing, the record company's best of, that had nothing to do with hits. See, the biggest hits or greatest hits, that's a different record name. But best of, that's not greatest hits. I figured that out real early. I was like, wait, best of the Tubes. I've never heard of any of these songs. When were they hits? In the 40s, before I was listening to music? And then I realized, wait, best of, oh, it's linguistic. It's not, they're not, that's like their favorite songs. So, Steve Lukather is a great guitar player. He's one of my biggest influences to this day. Yeah, but that's the thing with the Tubes. It wasn't really a band that I'd had any history with, and maybe the real Tubes fans would be like, "Oh yeah, this is a great record. These are the best songs." But the best of is not greatest hits. Eagles' greatest hits which I think is the second best-selling record of all time behind Thriller. Eagles' Greatest Hits is all big hits. Those were all massive hits. And so a lot of times, part of the reason the best of exists, okay, is because bands signed 3 or 4 record deals back in the day. They'd sign a 4-record deal, and it would count as one of their records, and they could get out of a deal that way. A lot of times, the record companies got hip to it and eventually said, "Oh, greatest hits albums don't count as one of your, records to get you through the deal." But yeah, there was definitely a lot of money being made. Yes, Luke's hilarious. Actually, I would love to hear. I bought his book and read it, but I would love to hear the audio book of it because he probably did it. I know that Steve Martin did his audio book, and I read his book, Born Standing Up, and it was good. It was good. It was a typical autobiography, which is a little. Autobiographies are not as good as biographies because autobiographies are written by the author. I mean, yeah, they're written by the person, and that person may not be an author. So it doesn't mean they can tell a compelling story, particularly a compelling story of someone's life. But there are a few, the best autobiographies, there are a few of them out there, but the best biographies are usually written by someone who doesn't have a horse in the race. I've read a lot of biographies about, the Beatles and stuff, Paul and John. I read the John Lennon one that was very controversial. But I don't know that anyone disputed much about it. So, all right. So I'm going to head out. I don't even know where we are with people watching. Oh, we're kind of back up to 20. Yeah, 22. What did we peaked at? 31. Not bad, people. Not bad. I'm not one of those live streamers that has a lot of people watching, but I'll see you next Monday, Lord willing, and we'll talk more about this. We'll talk more about jamming. I guess we're going to be tap into our inner Jerry Garcias, right? Was that interesting? Hey, Bush Pig, what's going on? Albert Goldman. White punks on dope. Tubes. Oh, you like the Tubes? Yeah, I mean, I like the songs that Lukather played on. I talked to Lukather about that. I talked to him about the Tubes Talk to You Later solo, and he said, yeah, that was the first take. That was the very first take, and he said I think he said he was sharp on the last note and he wanted to do it again, and they were in the booth and they were going no, because back then it was destructive. Like if he had re-recorded the guitar solo, they would have had to go over the old one. They didn't have tracks for him to go on a new track. So that's what he told me, and so he had to live with it. But yeah, it's a great. I think the song's in B, and it's kind of like a lot of this. Let me find. Where are you, Luke? Let me just go to this one. It actually is a great, when I learn guitar solos, like you can learn the guitar solo, but what I like to do is go, all right, what is he thinking here? Why did he do the guitar solo? And one of the things that came out of it was, oh man, he just knew the B string, like the B scale. I mean, one of the best things you can do is like if you're working on a scale, like, oh, I'm going to learn the C scale. Great. But also learn it on individual strings. For one thing, you'll really memorize the formula, which is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. And you can do this with any scale. But the great thing about playing like the B scale on the B string is you get that open string. But it's a great way to move around the neck. So if I'm like, so maybe that's the jam, and I use that B string to get me from first position to 7th position to 12th position to 17th position. And so knowing the scale on different strings, the same scale, will allow you to kind of move around. You know, now I use that one string to go up the fretboard, so that's a good way to learn scales. So anyway, okay, top class. Are you at top of the class, Bush Pig? I want to reach out to my 14-year-old self and turn off the ABC after school special that made me think the guitar can be learned in 46 minutes. Yep, plus commercials. Yeah, I wonder which after school special that was. I probably saw it too. Thanks, Bruce, for putting up all the paperwork up there. The for your information stuff. Oh, that's so funny. I was losing viewers, and I went from 18 to, you're right, 28. You're keeping track. Anytime I twisted lines, Tofuchi, oh yeah. Yeah, he teaches really well too. Yeah, no, I'm not trying to say I'm a great teacher. But yeah, it's, he's actually a great player. Yeah. So. People are here for the fun. I don't know if people are here for too much of the guitar information, but I should do a video about that, different ways to play a scale, and why. I find that, like I said, when I'm learning a guitar solo, or like studying somebody's playing, it's less what is he doing and more is, for me, it's almost always why is he doing that? Especially if it's something like I never thought of. Somebody's playing, watch Julian Lang. It's like, okay, I can figure that out. I could learn it. I could get the tab. I could whatever. I don't want to know that. I want to know how he got to that point of playing those notes. That's to me much more interesting. Like with Luca third, like he would always do. He would do that minor third bend. He might bend like B, bend up to that third, and then he would bend up to the fourth to get that sus. Or he would hammer it on. But, you know, you could... that was very 80s. Got old fast. People stopped doing that because it was like, oh, okay, Eddie. Eddie did it better. Oh, funny. Yep. Oh, I just do them across the fretboard. Is that? Let's see. Vertical would be this way. Horizontal. Yeah, you could learn pentatonics up. I mean, like the B pentatonic. Or B minor pen. What's his name? Frank Cabali plays him. He plays pentatonics weird, like. Anyway, all right, I got to get going. Stuff's starting to pile up here. Messages and emails and all that stuff. So next Monday, let's get together and let's hang out. Let's have fun. God bless you all. Thank you. Hey, Bushbeck, thank you so much. Yeah, getting in the head. Yeah, and if you want to really get into like Hendrix or get into George Benson or get into any guitar player, find out what their influences are, and you're probably going to have a better. You're much more likely to be able to play like them if you practice and play the stuff that they idolized. And they were trying to emulate. Hendrix was finding stuff, searching for stuff. He was trying to be something, do something. And it's like, what was that? And who was his influences and stuff? So that's, you know, like when I found out that George Benson was really into Django Reinhardt and Charlie Christian, that's who I studied. And I had a much better grasp of understanding what George Benson was doing. So anyway, that's just one of my favorite guitar players. Favorite guitar players are all over the map. So. All right, God bless you all. Thank you. I'm going to end the stream. You guys can probably keep talking for a minute, I think. So don't worry about that. I'll see you next Monday. God bless you.